Gonzo on the restart.
Weaves his way, fires and scores.
We're going to attack, coming middle, trying to free himself up.
Shot, score. Gets around Weed, off the bounce, shot and a score. Wow. Levine with some speed. Levine fakes a pass. Levine all the way is going to fire and score.
Up top, Druin. He wants a shot,
and he's got it. Wow.
Meanwhile, Arbusto, one-handed shot is up and in.
Got a penalty flag down.
Skip pass sets up Gabord, and it's time to pluck a chicken.
Nah. But a good one-handed scoop up.
Oh, Roy, and then he lights the lamp. Lowers that left shoulder and fires up the Cougar fans. Look at this.
Nice play.
Fake shot by Brunzik, and then he drills it on his way to the ground. Chase, extra feed, shot, score, game over.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome here to Bedford. Nick Anastas, Roger Howe with you, getting set for our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance. The Pinkerton Astros taking on the Bedford Bulldogs, two of the top 5 teams in the Media Bowl, squaring off here to begin week number 2 statewide. We look at Pinkerton, fresh off a trip to last year's Division I championship game under head coach Steve Gaudreau. They won their first 2 on the schedule. No problem with Manchester, a 20-2 victory over the Kings, followed up by a 15-3 victory last week over Salem. They fell over the weekend out of state at St. John's Shrewsbury in a contentious 9-7 final score. Meanwhile, for Bedford, they've had nearly a week off following a 21-1 outburst in a win over Concord to open up the campaign. Of course, the Bulldogs with a lot of unfinished business after being eliminated in last year's quarterfinal round against Merrimack in the 4-5 matchup. So for second-year head coach Drew Bordeaux, he's got his work cut out for him here as the Bulldogs look to defend their home turf against a perennially tough opponent in Pinkerton.
Well, I got to tell you, Nick, and welcome back to the 24
Welcome back.
season. It's great to be back out here. We got some sun today, finally, which is a blessing, being outdoors again. But hey, listen, everybody out there knows how close I am to a lot of these programs out here, and thankfully Bedford, being my hometown, I get a lot of ear to the ground stuff that goes on there with my son being the assistant coach here. And these guys have been hungry, man. That was a devastating loss to them against Merrimack last year. They've been in the weight room. They've done indoor. They've done Sunday mornings with Tomahawks. They've done everything. And for, I think, the first time in a very, very long time, the off-season, everybody bought in. Everyone bought in on the Bulldogs, and these guys are really hungry, and it showed against Concord the other day. It was not an even match by any means. Concord is a good team this year. I saw them again on Saturday, and they got a win against Dover. Bedford's very, very hungry for this year, and being in the top 5 of the coaches poll with Joe Marshallina's New Hampshire High School Sports, we expect to see them and Pinkerton vie for those first 4 spots up there.
There's also an interesting storyline on the sideline, as I know you know very well. That's, of course, Coach Steve Gaudreau on the visitor sideline tonight for Pinkerton, and Drew Bordeaux heading up Bedford. Bordeaux played for Coach Gaudreau on the hilltop at St. Anselm a few years back.
He sure did.
We spoke with Coach Gaudreau on our FNL Lacrosse program earlier this week, and he said that Drew Bordeaux was his highest, or I guess most sought-after recruit during his time at St. Anselm. And, of course, Coach Gaudreau has sons in the feeder program here in Bedford, a freshman who is expected to be on the sideline tonight. A lot of family ties and an interesting storyline to keep an eye on.
And they've, despite Coach Gaudreau's ties to Pinkerton and the Derry community, Hampstead, all of that, his wife is the head coach of the middle school team.
That's
here.
Right.
So they have some pretty deep roots here. Steve has been involved in the youth program over here as well for the Bedford Cannons program. So it is one of those, I love it, actually. I mean, you know me. I'm all about
Funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. The New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school, varsity, and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NewHampshireTomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. So become another athletic program like Bedford, Goffstown, or Memorial that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today.
Well, back here in Bedford, we apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're up and running. These two teams ready to get running here in just a moment. Pinkerton and Bedford as the sun begins to set here in southern New Hampshire. Nick Anastas along with Roger Howe. It's our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week presented by Beals Insurance. And Roger, we just saw down on the field the announcement of the starting lineups, and it appears like Coach Bordeaux of Bedford has decided to go with the sophomore Ethan Kahn in net for a second straight game.
Yes, he did. And my understanding is that those two goalies, they fought it out. It was one of those battles where, you got two guys that are hungry in the net, and Ethan just looks a little bit sharper right now. He actually had a very good game against Concord. That one goal that Concord scored, Doherty scored that goal, that actually came off of a body and went in. So Ethan could very well have had a shutout against Concord the other night, given the score. But
good problem to have, right, if you're Coach Bordeaux?
Listen, I got to tell you, if you have two hungry goalies that are evenly matched like that, talent-wise, but one's got the edge, it's kind of like the playoffs in hockey. You go with the guy that's hot. And right now he seems to be hot and he's not letting up. So tonight will be a whole lot different, don't get me wrong, than Concord with Pinkerton.
Right.
It'll be a whole lot different. So this will be a test. It'll be a test for the young goalie.
And as you mentioned earlier, Pinkerton losing a few key members of that squad that made a championship run a year ago, including Cole Frank, one of the, if not the best, face-off man in the game a year ago. Seems like a committee approach, though. Coach Gaudreau likes the depth that he has at face-off, and we should or could see as many as three different players taking the draw for Pinkerton. They're going to start with Alex Setsaranos, the senior midfielder.
Yeah, I would tell you that you're going to see a lot of Riccio today.
And Brian Riccio on the other side.
Yeah, definitely.
Underway here with two officials, Sean Murphy, Tim McCaffrey, excuse me. And we are underway here in Bedford. Pinkerton's got it first, and we'll head right to left in this first half. Matt Morrison, just a special athlete. The junior scored 16 goals a year ago. He's on the watch list, and he may be a problem for Bedford here tonight.
He is absolutely the one to watch. Returning letterman, obviously. Three-sport athlete. He's just the guy.
Meanwhile, thinking about the shot there was James Erickson, senior on his way to Mars Hill University, one of several commits up and down this Pinkerton roster.
Yeah, and this is the scout on Morrison right there.
Shot
right there.
Score.
right there.
It's Morrison. He goes top shelf to beat Kahn. Looks like it went over the right shoulder. Either way, it lights the lamp, and Pinkerton, just 51 seconds in, strikes first on the road, 1-0.
Exactly. So we're gonna pick this apart during this game because this is their offense, a predominant set where they're going to go Morrison up top. They're going to try and draw him out to the 40-yard line, 45-yard line, get him a good head of steam, and look for that slide to come. And if he gets his guy beat, which he did there, he's just going to let it rip, and that's going to be their MO tonight.
Dylan Riccio with the win. The freshman evens up the count at the X at 1 apiece. So now Bedford looking to even things here with just over a minute gone by. Sun continuing to set, as we noted. Long shadows down there on this turf field, and we've got a good crowd here at Bulldog Stadium as expected. The Bedford students are here, and the Pinkerton faithful have made the trip from Derry as well.
So you're going to watch Bedford try to do kind of the same thing with Bennett Matthews, and he's up top now, right now. They're going to try and mimic something that Pinkerton tries to do with Morrison.
Here is Matthews.
He
blows the one-on-one, put the defender Alec Henry in his rearview mirror.
Yep.
And now it's Evan Capello.
Watch
Junior.
the quick slide here too, Nick. You just saw a quick slide there from number 20 on the far side, the midfielder. See how they do it with a wingo.
Trying to shake off. Here's Derek Kaliza, the veteran. Seems like he's been here forever. The senior draws a slide behind the cage now, working as Luke Purnell. Trying to dip that left shoulder. Cut off on the drive to the cage, and now Bedford will recycle up top for Matthews. 2 minutes gone by. The sophomore with a stutter step and a wide shot. It's going to whiz out of bounds into the corner, and Bedford will restart behind the cage.
Good patience there by the Bulldogs. There's a couple times they could have pulled the trigger. Did not have a good look at the net, and they pulled it out.
Here's the freshman Sam Berard. One of 6 freshmen listed on this Bedford roster. Here's Helton. We know what an athlete he is, one of the state's best running backs on the football field. Meanwhile, Matthews is going to fire, and that one is set aside. And now a whistle as the ball goes out of play. It's going to be rewarded to Pinkerton. So it's the first save for the freshman goalie, Owen Perkins, who looked pretty good there on that blazing shot from Matthews.
Yeah, he picked that up quite well, actually. Good step down by Matthews, but he saw the release, got his hands up. Not a great cover-up by the Bulldogs there. They should have been aware of that.
Cody Santomassino handling here for Pinkerton. He's on the run, flipping across the zone. It's bobbled, ball on the ground, and it's going to belong to the Bulldogs. The long pole gets to it. That's Sam Durso, one of the seniors, but his pass is too strong. Matthews in the fray. Ball goes skyward. Kaliza off the chest-high bounce, collects at midfield. And now Bedford back in business, looking to get on the board with 3.5 gone by in this opening quarter.
Yeah, Kaliza took a little chop to the neck there. Official behind, Official Murphy did not see that. But good slowdown, good yellow pace here. Get some guys out on the field for the Bulldogs.
And we expect this one to be physical, right, Roger?
It should be physical, and you know what? These two refs, they're the best in New England, in my opinion. They're in that top 10. They'll let them play. They're not going to pick this apart.
Meanwhile, this one gets away from Bedford. Kaliza couldn't corral behind the net, and it's turned over to Pinkerton. Nearly 4 minutes in, Astros with a 1-0 lead. They scored in the first minute on a Matt Morrison rifle shot. And now trying to work against the ride. Here comes Morrison, right up the middle.
Nice trap ride here by the Bulldogs.
Morrison going to challenge 2 Bedford defenders. Use that speed to get to midfield. Shakes off a third defender, Dylan Soden. Soden hacks at him from behind. This one is pulled in overhead at the top of the box. Now Pinkerton going to take a quick breath here and get set for another trip. Hoping to build this lead to 2-0.
Oh, nice.
This one is high and over the head of one of the co-captains. Well, Richard Wong couldn't get that one.
Well, that's where that aggressive Bulldog defense is going to pay off this year. That was just a nice late tap by Sheridan, and on the pass it went out of bounds.
And another unforced error as Soden may have taken his eye off it. This ball turned over on the clear attempt. Pinkerton wasting little time. Here's Benjamin Quintilani harassed on that far side. Good piece of defense by Brian Riccio, the junior.
If you remember last year, Bulldogs, this defense did have trouble clearing the ball. Ooh, push.
Adam Scala knocked down, flag flies, and the whistle will hold things up here with 5 minutes gone. We have the game's first penalty.
It's going to be a push on Sheridan. That was clear.
No argument from the senior. He's going to trot over to the box, and they'll drop to one knee here. Bedford shorthanded, trailing 1-0 on the scoreboard. An inopportune time for a Bulldog penalty.
Yeah, Sheridan makes a good play, comes back, gets a push on it. Ball goes out of bounds before that. Not a good sequence here in the last 30 seconds.
So we see the man up for Pinkerton. Bedford going to pack it in. It's like a 3-2. Quintilani. Erickson. Around the horn it goes.
Yeah, they're going to want the backside here.
Plenty of
Watch
room.
Morrison. Watch
Goal line
Morrison.
Extended. It's Scala. Off a screen. They're going to whistle this one.
Oh, he's in the crease? Yep.
Here it is. Violation near the cage. Bedford takes over. Still short-handed here as we approach the midway point first quarter. Had some trouble here early on clearing it. See how they do here.
There we go.
Open in the middle is Capello. Cross midfield. Capello held up here on the sideline. And now another whistle.
Not just a slow.
Oh, okay.
Just a slow.
So Bedford now back to even strength here. Trying to tie the game at 1. 6 minutes in. Here's a shot from straight away. That's knocked down. Perkins waving the wand. Able to seize that one low and scoop it up, and Pinkerton has it.
Probably not the best shot you're going to want to take point blank at that distance. Oh, nice play here.
Long pass turned over. Here comes Helton down the middle. Shot for the sophomore is up and in. However, the trail official is going to wave it off. It's a violation against Bedford. What was that there, Roger?
It was an offside.
Yep. Offside is going to negate the goal and keep this a 1-0 game.
There you go. Nice play by
There's
Matthews.
A big hit.
Huge.
And the long pole lost it. It's Jackson Chase. Able to recover. Helped out by Morrison, and now Morrison with a little stop and start. He's going to jog his way, goal line extended, and Pinkerton's attack is going to get back to business here as we tick down towards 5 minutes to go first quarter.
Yeah, Bedford looks a little nervous out there. I must say that they look a little bit disorganized right now, and one of the things I know that was talked about prior to this game was the fact that Bedford hasn't beaten Pinkerton in 9 years. So might be a little pressure out there. I don't know how the coaches handled that, but certainly they want this one.
Here's a hit.
Good luck.
Sheridan back on the field and getting down to business.
Another good aggressive late check.
Scala's pass goes long. Wong with a full sprint. Does keep it in bounds, but it's taken away by Kerr for Bedford. Long bounce pass. Disrupted near midfield. Scooped up again on the move. Flicked up ahead, and now Bedford in business. Helton looks for a man in the middle. Tough catch, cut off, and the bouncing shot ends up wide. Hit on the release there. Kaliza never quite got his feet under him, and Pinkerton forces the miss, and they'll take over.
Yeah, and a great late check there by Henry, by the Astros. As he was releasing, he did not plant his feet well.
Here's the long pole, Brendan Carney, the sophomore. And now it's Erickson operating again on attack for Pinkerton.
Boy, aggressive defense. This is what BG has done well with their defensemen. We talk about it all the time the last 3-4 years, Nick, just how they're relentless on the ball, no matter where they're at on the field, and they do not give their offensive opponents any room to try and cradle and dodge.
Astros will take advantage of some rare breathing room here on the perimeter. Although that's not going to last long, as here comes the defender Sheridan hacking away, trying to elude him is Scala. Looks for a cutter. That's Jeff Gormady, the junior, was hit on the catch. Pinkerton, though, retains possession, and now it settles behind the cage for Quintilani. Quintilani going to approach. Being pushed to his right, thought about it instead. It's left up top for Gormady.
Great defense there.
Extended possession here for Pinkerton as the Astros take their time. Taking down towards 3 minutes to go first quarter.
Oh, good double.
Erickson off the slide. That shot sent aside by Kahn and immediately scooped up on the ground ball However, this one ends up back out of bounds and back over to Pinkerton.
Yeah, that was actually, I don't think Kahn actually got that save. I think it hit one of the defenders in front, Nick, and then they messed the clear up. So
time of possession, at least early in this first quarter, favoring the Astros.
Yeah.
Inside of 3 minutes. Back behind the cage, Scala, they're going to work it around as the shadows continue to lengthen here in Bedford. Quintilani coming downhill, trying to shake off the defender, that's Dylan Soden. Fakes the pass. Eyes on the cage there for a moment. Pinkerton will reset. Gormady again against Soden. Lowers the shoulder, takes the impact, spins right,
nice.
Dances left, lost the ball, and Soden takes it away for Bedford. Soden jogging across midfield. Bedford, though, without numbers, going to slow it down.
Yeah, they need a break here. They're going to give the defense a break. Do not be surprised if you see a long possession here with and a timeout.
Yep,
there you go.
Coach Bordeaux wants to talk as the second-year head coach has something in mind. Just over 2 minutes to go. First quarter, Pinkerton an early 1-0 lead. Our broadcast tonight brought to you by Beals Insurance, locations in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance. Get you the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Visit BealsInsurance.com. Also by MG Sports Fundraising. That's fundraising made easy. MG Sports Fundraising is the official fundraising partner of Friday Night Lights New Hampshire. Visit MGSportsFundraising.com. And finally by the New Hampshire Tomahawks Showcase and Development for College Lacrosse. Visit NHTomahawks.com and also girls.NHTomahawks.com. Nick Anastas, Roger Howe with you. It's our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week presented by Beals Insurance. We're active all spring long. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Of course, the official home of Friday Night Lights New Hampshire is on YouTube at FNLNH Media, making the long march towards 5,000 subscribers. So click the button.
Hot dog.
And do us all a favor.
Hot dog, yeah. We go into that next level of my pay, right? I have that escalating pay clause based on population.
Double check the contract.
Okay,
there may or may not be something in there.
We might be getting to that
5,000.
We might be getting to that custom RV level too, man, where I'm going to need my own private space. You know.
What are you seeing here, Roger? Through 10 minutes.
I'm seeing a very nervous Bulldogs team. I'm seeing a very patient Astros team. This has been the Achilles heel of the Bulldogs as far as if you recall in the Merrimack game, it was a clear that went out of bounds when they had a chance to make a play in that Merrimack game in the playoffs. Just slightly different nervous levels between the two teams. Both goalies look good, though.
See what they do here out of the timeout. Trying to get on the board, trailing 1-0. Right now it's a Matt Morrison opening minute goal that's been the difference.
Yeah.
Final 2 minutes here, opening frame.
Nice look.
There it is in the middle. Helton fires, went off a defender's helmet.
Yeah.
Bounces out of play. Bedford will keep it.
Yeah, number 26. So right there in the middle. Taking it off the dome, I think.
That's Cody Santomassimo in the right place, right time there for Pinkerton.
Another good turn there.
This one uncontested in the corner. Matthews with a fake. Back to Kaliza.
Nice
shot
look.
and score. A gorgeous release there. Able to sweep that one towards the net at high velocity to even the game at one apiece. Derek Kaliza, multi-year starter here at the varsity level.
Yep.
Comes through big for the home team.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back and look at this again tonight, but this set is the Morrison set, and the Bulldogs call it something different, but this is what they want to do. They want to draw the high defender on Bennett Matthews, and they're going to look to that side for Kaliza because he's got a rocket from that left side.
Both face-off men end up face down. And ultimately, it's Bedford who comes away with the ground ball as J.J. Gaffney, the senior committed to Southern New Hampshire University, scoops that one up for Bedford and finally now gets rid of it to the sophomore Brody Helton. Helton's going to look over at Coach Bordeaux and flick it back to Matthews. Down to 1 minute remaining. Bedford looking for their first lead. Matthews runs over a defender and then lost the ball.
Nice check. Good check by the Astro defender there, number 33.
And it's Jackson Chase, the junior, Met him at full speed, and there you see
Good rip check. Love it.
a couple of sticks getting in there to poke it loose.
Yeah.
So Pinkerton will face the ride here. Out of the cage comes the freshman goaltender Perkins. We're down to 40 seconds. A short pass taken by Morrison, who gets by the defender along the sidelines, gets inside the 30, and slows down to a crawl on the far side. Coach Gaudreau maybe thinking last shot here with 30 seconds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No need to hurry it here.
Coach Bordeaux sees something amiss with the defense.
Don't like it.
So does Morrison. Shot, though, swallowed up at close range by Kahn as the sophomore was ready for that.
And there it is again. A lot of pressure on this ride by Pinkerton.
Down to 10 seconds, trying to swim through a sea of red is Gaffney.
All right.
Still working here near side. Throws a high pass intended for his teammate Sam Berard. It ends up out of bounds, and that brings us to zeros on the first quarter clock. 1-1 after one here in Bedford. Second quarter next. You are watching our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire game of the week, presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com.
Well, Pinkerton struck first. Matt Morrison scored in the game's opening minute. Bedford, they strike in the final 2 minutes on a Derek Kaliza goal, and that is where we are, 1-1 after one here in Bedford. Nick Anastas, along with Roger Howe.
Who dat?
And maybe 1,000 or so other folks here at Bulldog Stadium as well. One of the bigger crowds, especially for an early season. Just week 2 statewide. Both these teams looking to continue the early season success. Bedford, as you mentioned, Pinkerton has had their number for the better part of a decade. Would love to get that monkey off their back, so to speak. And for Pinkerton, well, a win today would put them at 3-1 and 3-0 against in-state competition.
Yeah, that last win by Bedford was at Pinkerton. I was at that game, and it'll always be in the Howe legacy because Brandon Howe, my son, scored 7 goals in that game. That was the last big one.
So that would have been back in 2014?
2015. 2015. Yep, it was 2015.
Since then, Bedford, of course, has made the jump to Division I. And the big theme, of course, is to kind of right last year's wrong, so to speak. They fell in the 4-5 matchup against Merrimack on this field against the Tomahawks, a game in which they self-admittedly expected to win, and sometimes those losses can really fuel motivation up to a year or so later.
Yeah, and that was a great look by Matthews. Hey, listen, conversely, if you recall last season, Bedford really handed Merrimack a big loss in season, like 2 weeks before the playoff game.
Right.
And Bedford came out thinking that they were just going to walk on the field that day, and admittedly, looking back on it, Coach Bordeaux and Coach Howe said, we didn't prep our guys. We didn't prep them properly, and that one hurt. That stung because we had never lost to Merrimack, or Bedford. Okay, I'm speaking for myself, having been on the coaching staff back in the day. Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough one to swallow. And listen, Brian Murphy and that team, they played very well in that game.
Yeah.
So we're not going to take anything away from Brian Miller and those boys.
Yeah, that's a growing, up-and-coming D1 program for sure. They made their first ever trip to the semis last year.
There's a good check.
After that quarterfinal win over Bedford. Meanwhile, look out. going flying out of bounds, and now a late flag is thrown. Sheridan collided with Ryson Michaud, the freshman, and the freshman got the worst of that exchange.
Yeah, not quite sure what the call is going to be here. What's he going to call, a hold?
Either way, it's against Sheridan, and that is the second penalty against Bedford and the second penalty against the senior defenseman. He's going to get a pat on the shoulder on the sideline as he drops his left knee in the box. Coach Bordeaux showing support, but another man-up opportunity for Pinkerton. Bedford did survive the first. See if they can keep this a 1-1 tie, or does Pinkerton retake the lead? It's Morrison at the top of the box. Around it goes, back to Morrison. He's thinking about it. He looks to feather it. Had a man in front. It was knocked down and now taken away by one of the poles for Bedford. Now it's Kahn who controls. Pretty good defensive effort by Henrishon, who got a piece of the pass. Meanwhile, this one ends up out of play on the near side, and it goes back to Pinkerton. Quick pass out in front, too hot for Wong. It deflects high in the air and ends up out of bounds in the Astro bench.
Yeah, that's just inexperience from Ethan Kahn's standpoint. You've got 4 seconds in that crease, and if you've got guys in front of you, you circulate through that crease and then you step out, and still you've got the crease between yourself and any riding attackman. He's just got to slow that down and have a little more confidence with what they're doing on that.
Kerr's pass off target, but collected on the run by Capello. Bedford still shorthanded. They're now in control here in a 1-1 game. Just over 2 minutes gone by second quarter. And another whistle is going to give this back to Pinkerton.
Man, this is just devastating for these guys. This is all procedure stuff. This is not blatant disregard for, knowing the game. They're just doing dumb things.
Morrison lost the ball. Helped out, though, on that far wing. That's Scala trying to fight off Matthews. Now on the run. Here's Henry. A shot and a score. It goes 5-hole. That's James Erickson, the Mars Hill University commit. Lined that one up, went through the sophomore's legs, and Pinkerton cashes in. Officially a man-up goal, right?
No.
Or did it expire?
9:34 was the
okay,
was
so
the
there
expiration.
was
yep.
an even strength goal. Either way, heck of a shot.
Looks like that got deflected and went through the 5-hole. Let's look at this again, Nick. His release comes down, and I think he hits the defender. Yeah, he does. He hits his stick. It hit Henderson on the stick. So it got a little deflection there.
So James Erickson lights the lamp. It's
what are you doing?
2-1 Pinkerton.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, my bad.
Astros now on the defensive after the Bulldogs win the faceoff. Helton with a long pass to his classmate Matthews, and here comes the sophomore. At full speed. Runs over the defender, rifles the shot, but they're going to wave it off.
They're going to wave it off because of the ward.
That's the son of a football coach right there as Matthews delivered the blow. Meanwhile, Helton with the interception at midfield. Helton, a deke, a bouncer,
Beautiful.
And that one just over the crossbar.
Yeah, anybody that knows something about lacrosse is probably picking up on the Bedford side of things here. They're running two-way midfielders. They are not specializing guys on the field, which you've seen a lot of in years past. They're leaving Helton out on both sides of the ball and the faceoffs. He's getting a lot of screen time out there.
Here's Helton coming right, split dodge,
That's a trip.
tripped up, no whistle. Pinkerton gets to the loose ball, and this one feathered out of the cage by Perkins. Trying to locate it on the spin is Santa Massimo.
They got numbers.
And now the trail, the shot,
nice.
And a save. Kahn got a piece of it, and again it ricochets all the way to the far side, out of play.
Wow. Yeah, Bedford had their opportunities there.
Meanwhile, there's a player shaken up for Pinkerton.
I think he got a hack on that trail check from the defender.
That's Santa Massimo, who is still down.
He's going to have to come off regardless, but
a round of applause as he gets to his feet, but he's going to limp to that far sideline after taking pretty good pop along the near sideline.
And Ben, you got time to pull that back at all?
We expected a physical game. We've seen it in this first half. 2 penalties against Bedford, none so far against Pinkerton.
No, and they've both been against Sheridan too, and they've been undisputable penalties. It's not like let's see what.
Well,
Right, was in,
it
back
was off
frame.
camera there, but
Yep.
we hope he's okay. He's finally over there on the sideline, and we'll see if he returns. Meanwhile, play resumes. Bedford trying to work against the ride. It's Gaffney. Triple team somehow escapes. Gaffney on the move. Eye on the cage. The bouncer is wide.
Okay,
Foot race is won by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they got the clear, all right, so we're going to give them a clear on that, okay? But clearly, Bedford's not recognizing the fact that they need help. Both attackmen were down goal line extended on that, and that gives Pinkerton an easy ride. It's as simple as that.
Bulldogs get it to Matthews. Sophomore going to direct traffic with his offhand. To take on the defender, Nathan Smith. Shot off the crossbar. You could hear it up here on the roof of the press box. And then a great effort to secure possession for Pinkerton as Rice and Michoud able to lay out.
He didn't really have to. J.J. Gaffney just slowed down, and the two Astros just beat him to the sideline.
This one loose and then swept ahead. Picked up by Wong, who's going to come to a stop on that far side. Nearly 5 minutes gone by. Second quarter, it was 1-1 after one. Pinkerton's James Erickson scored an even strength goal in the couple of seconds after we went back to even strength to make this a 2-1 Pinkerton lead. Astros looking for their third win in this early season.
Good take.
Quick shot, Morrison, that one a couple of inches above the crossbar and out of bounds. Wind picking up a bit here in the second quarter as the sun continues to set. Basically the entire field is now in shadow. Strong move here,
Oh,
shot
nice.
and
Wow.
score.
Wow.
Matthew Gormati, the sophomore.
Gormady.
Gormady.
Gormady,
I think he
yep.
caught the defense a little bit by surprise there with that trigger. And he's fired up. His team's fired up.
I'll tell you what.
Out in front 3-1.
He ought to be fired up because that was a big-time goal. He blasts. He gets over goal line extended, gets in that little 3x3 area, doesn't really do any move. He just bulldoges past the gate and pops up over. Great placement of the shot over the shoulder of Ethan Kahn's left. That's just good heady attackman.
Pretty good
stuff.
defense, too, but
Yeah.
a better shot. Meanwhile, off the face-off, it's Dylan Stingle. And then a save by Kahn as Stingle runs out of room. Kahn looks for Henrishon. The long pole, eyes downfield. Let's fly a long pass. It's collected by Bedford's Brian Riccio. Matthews with a spin move, lost it. Morrison picks it up, tries to spin away from two players, and then it's knocked loose again by Riccio and picked up by Matthews. Back and forth we go. Helton steps in, and a laser just goes wide.
Did not like that formation. I'm sorry to step on your toes there, Nick, but that formation on fast break there where they had numbers, terrible. Bulldogs got to pull up a point guy there. They had three guys across the front, which caused Helton to get a defender on top of him immediately. And no movement. They got to be smarter than that.
Bedford open to tie it here.
Oh,
Luke
that's
Burnell.
That's a flag, yes.
And here comes the flag. It's going to be the first penalty
No.
against Pinkerton. Helton thought about it,
Now he's got it.
and now a whistle is going to wave it off.
Yeah.
Pretty good shifty move by the running back. We've got, as I mentioned, Pinkerton's first penalty. We saw two against Kevin Sheridan of Bedford earlier. And now we see one against the Astros here, which is going to give the Bulldogs their first man-up opportunity.
Yeah, and you know what? You hear me make these comments in between what you're doing on the play-by-play, and it's my old coaching thing coming up, because you don't make that shot. You've got a freebie. You settle in. You don't hastily go to the net like Helton did, even though he ended up with a good take.
Pinkerton underhanded, force a quick turnover. Pass to the middle is knocked down. It ends up at the cage, and it's scooped up by the sophomore Kahn.
Beautiful.
Long pass for his classmate Matthews, who gets it on the run, and down the middle he comes. Fires a shot again off the crossbar. Going to take a roll near midfield, just to show you the power that one had. Second time Matthews has hit the pipe. He's going to let this one fly. It goes out of play. And Bedford will have another opportunity with 5 minutes even remaining until halftime.
All right, I can call hitting corners a number of different never, slang terms, but you got to just put it in the net, man. These guys, he's trying to precisely get it in. There we go.
Matthews.
Perfect.
We're tied at 2 as the sophomore cashes in. Bedford scores a man-up goal.
Just under.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about the third Pinkerton goal a moment ago. So it's still an Astros advantage here, 3-2.
But you see the difference right there. The last 2 shots that Bennett Matthews made, he was trying to pluck a corner. Here he just sees the goal and sees where the goaltender isn't, and you find that slot, and it's a great shot, even on the strong side of the goaltender.
So the man-up goal brings Bedford within 1 on the ensuing face-off. Bulldogs are going to get there. It's Dylan Riccio, the freshman, able to fight off 2 Astros, has help here from Soden. And now Bedford looking to tie as we move towards 4 minutes to go, second quarter.
Right. Now you just want to settle in here. You got time. You're within 1. There's no reason. Yeah, we just need to slow it down here, boys. Get some second liners out here. All right, so now you got Mastro DeCasso coming in, number 6.
Yep, the junior.
This is their second group.
Gaffney, no. Kaliza there on the ground ball. The senior trying to find some space behind the cage. Reverses direction. Shakes off the defender. Looks up top. Shot on a step down for Capello.
Yeah.
Flies out of his stick a little awkward and ends up out of bounds.
Okay, I don't mind that take, even though it whistled wide. He's going offside. He's going to the offhand of the goaltender, and it just comes off his strings wonky. That's all. Good take there.
Had the lane, as you could see on the replay.
Oh, little interference there on a pick.
The officials have called that, in particular, pretty tight here in this first half.
Yeah, and I would never question Mr. Murphy or Mr. McCaffrey when it comes to that kind of stuff. Never.
It's been a well-officiated game so far with just 2 officials.
Yeah.
3.5 remaining.
Oh.
Long pass. Look out. Scala went down as the ball ended up out of play. We've seen both rides do some things here defensively in this first half.
Yeah, I'd like to see Bedford do a little more aggressive trap as they're doing here, what we call a 3-man attack zone drop, but they're not moving a lot with the ball, which is what Pinkerton is doing well, but they did well there.
Matthews, again, puts that shoulder down to create separation. Shot sent aside by Perkins. That's his 4th save. And the ground ball ends up with the Astros as well as Caleb Hobden gets to it, the sophomore. Now Perkins out of the net. Going to survey, going to leave the cage. Cautiously fires a pass up the middle that's off target. Helton turns it over. Kaliza down the middle. Shot and score. And we are tied at 3. Well, again, the Bulldog ride, it pays off there. As they produce back-to-back giveaways, they cash in there as Kaliza. He's got his second goal of this first half, and we're all even at 3.
And you said it, Nick, right when you brought that up. This is just a mistake here, but the trap was up a little further this time. It was between the 30 and the 35, and that didn't leave a lot of room there for error, and just a bad, not a bad pass actually, but just not a good reception there.
Meanwhile, Pinkerton.
They're shook.
Yep. Won the face-off, had a little bit of a transition opportunity there, but the pass ends up out of bounds, and it's turned back over to the Bulldogs. Inside of 3 minutes until halftime. Soden in a foot race gets to midfield.
Offsides. Yeah.
And now a delayed flag for offsides appears to be on the way.
Yeah. Now this is where you want to just settle down, man. Settle.
Capello, far side, trying to find Matthews. And now a foot race breaks out. Ball ends up out of play, and we get ourselves a whistle. And now it looks like the second penalty of this first half is going to be assessed here against Pinkerton.
Yeah, it's going to be an offsides. Number 9, Scala, stepped over on the ride, and this is all. You've heard me say this before. Before that B was printed on this new field, it was very difficult to see that 50. You had white on both sides, which was very, very difficult to see it.
Bedford looking for their first lead. They've trailed most of this first half.
Oh, there it is.
Helton, shot, score.
Yeah.
Helton from Matthews. And just like that, the Bulldogs have scored 3 straight and have their first lead of the night, 4-3.
Well, took them 15 seconds on a 30, and that's how you want to do it when you only have a technical to be man up with. You don't waste time going perimeter. You get right into it. You've heard me say it for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
You cannot stand still and get somebody loose. You go at them.
That's the second man-up goal for the Bulldogs. Back to even strength. That ball is still loose.
He's out of the box.
And a whistle
Yep.
is going to give this to Bedford.
Yep.
So the Bulldogs looking to ride the momentum here, perhaps all the way into the locker room. With just over 2 minutes remaining, hoping to widen the gap here out in front 4-3.
Well, watch the bench. They've got a timeout in their back pocket here. They got their second line middies out there.
And the junior, Mastro de Casa, is going to pull it out. Now Matthews. 2 defenders, hoping to keep his balance.
Nice. Good
Finds
look.
a wide open Helton. But that shot a little high. You hear the groans from the Bulldog fans.
Boy.
Because they wanted another there for the big sophomore.
Do you remember Druin from Pinkerton a couple years ago?
I do.
Between him and the other midfielder escapes
Michael
me.
Uber.
Uber. They had a tandem shot back-to-back that they could rifle the ball just about anywhere on the field. And it looks like Helton and Matthews are shaping up to be that a dual howitzer run out there.
Quite the duo on the football field in the fall as well for the 2-time Division I state champs. Helton led the division in rushing, and Matthews was excellent on both sides
Look
of the
at
ball.
this. Oh, I love those.
There's a skip pass. Helton gets square, but a little high. Backed up behind the net by Sam Berard. And Bedford will have another shot here. We felt like Pinkerton had the time of advantage in the time of possession advantage in that first quarter. I think things have flipped a bit here in the second.
I agree. And I like a lot of what I'm seeing the Bedford Bulldogs do right now on offense. You start seeing skip passes across the top from the low end of the box to the top. That defense is packing in, and they're allowing a lot of open passing lanes, and it seems to be what Bedford's creating here.
Quick pass, Helton. Shot, score. Look out. The sophomore had some heat on that one, his second goal. Bedford has strung together 4 straight, and they lead 5-3 with just inside of 42 seconds to go in this first half.
Wow, good for Kevin Master de Casa. The kid's he has worked hard, and he gets an assist on this, and Helton just blows this ball. I'm telling you, that kid's got a shot. He has got a shot, and they're finding their spots now too. They're not just trying to pluck the corners and just put something up. They're playing some lacrosse here.
They're going to ride the wave at the X as well as Dylan Riccio comes away with a face-off win all by himself. The freshman has looked good in this first half. Bedford wants another here. Down to 25 seconds.
And like I said, they got a timeout too. So
Capello, Matthews, shadowed by Smith. Going to bring him to the middle, going to fire on the run, and that one ends up a foot or so wide. It'll stop the clock with 14 seconds.
Wow, and something you don't hear a lot about, but Matthews went left-handed there. He is showing he is going to be tough to defend if he goes to his opposite hand, too.
This one's stripped. Trying to come back up with it is Berard.
No.
Berard out of a crowd ends up with a pretty good shot. And then Perkins with a heady play from Cage to ensure it for Pinkerton. 4 seconds remain.
Launch job. Nope, he's going to throw it out of bounds.
Yep,
Okay,
over Morrison's head and out of bounds as the horn sounds. So it's halftime here in Bedford. And a round of applause coming from the home crowd as the Bulldogs leading Pinkerton 5-3 on the strength of 4 unanswered goals in the final minutes of that second quarter, really flipping the script. And now the emphasis is on Coach Gaudreau to come up with the adjustment for the Astros.
Yeah, and you know what? We haven't said this, I don't think, ever about the Bedford Bulldogs. They're winning the face-off battle. You're winning the face-off battle. We know the story that goes along with that, and that is indicative of this second quarter where they were dominant at the face-off X.
All right. When we come back, Roger's going to tally up the stats. Ben's about to roll the highlights. I'm going to get you some scores. And then we're going to get to the second half in about 9 minutes or so.
Big night.
From right now. Week number 2, statewide. Bedford looking for their first win over Pinkerton in 9 years. Halftime report on the way. You are watching our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. The New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school, varsity, and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NewHampshireTomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. So become another athletic program like Bedford, Goffstown, or Memorial that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today.
All right, we're back here in Bedford. It's halftime where the Bulldogs lead the Pinkerton Astros by a score of 5-3. Nick Anastas along with Roger Howe. It's our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week presented by Beals Insurance. Pinkerton actually played with the lead most of that first half. They struck first just a minute into the game. Matt Morrison, the talented junior, lit the lamp on the Astros' first possession, and Pinkerton led 1-0. Bedford came back to tie it with 90 seconds remaining in the first quarter as the senior Derek Kaliza, on a beautiful shot, tied the game at 1, and that was our score after the first quarter. Pinkerton, over the first half of the second quarter, strung together back-to-back goals. James Erickson and then Matt Gormady made it 3-1 about midway through that second quarter, but the final, 5 minutes really belonged to Bedford as they cashed in on 2-man-up opportunities. Bennett Matthews scored in the first to make it 3-2. Kaliza scored his second goal, an even strength goal, to tie the game at 3. A moment later, Brody Helton made it 4-3 on a man-up, and then Helton again in the final minute scored to make it 5-3. So that is where we are. Bedford riding a bit of momentum into the halftime locker room. Pinkerton looking to make some adjustments, perhaps, with the third quarter looming here at Bulldog Stadium.
Yeah, I if I'm Coach Gaudreau, I think they need to be a little more aggressive on the face-offs because they are losing that battle. In fact, by my count, I had Bedford 6 against 4. That's not a big gap when you look at the arithmetic, but all of those possessions in the second quarter by Bedford were at critical times in that 6-7 minute span where they went 4 goals up.
Yep. Well, any adjustments here that you foresee either way in this second half?
Yeah, I mean, on Pinkerton's side, their ride was very good in the first quarter, lacked a little bit in the second quarter. Bedford had picked up on their clears, according to my count. They were much more successful clearing the ball there. So their ride's got to get back to where it was in the first quarter. They got to stop letting Helton and Matthews shoot. I mean, if they were connecting, Bedford's got to have at least 3 times as many shots. Not all on net, obviously, but I mean, if Helton and Matthews start dialing it in even better than they already had, it could be trouble for Pinkerton.
Yeah. Could be easier said than done against those two.
That's why they got to press out.
Spectacular sophomores have been outstanding here so far.
Yeah.
Bedford, of course, looking for their second win in as many games. They opened up the season with a blowout win over Concord, 21-1. Pinkerton started 2-0 with wins over Manchester and Salem before losing an out-of-state battle at St. John's Shrewsbury 9-7 back on Saturday.
Yeah.
And, of course, the streak between these two teams heads up, dominated by Pinkerton over the last decade. It's been 9 years since Bedford got a W over the Astros. That could change in the next hour or so.
Yeah, and, if you go back a year to 2014, when Bedford won their third Division II championship, they played the top 4 teams in Division I that year, and that was the first year they had ever beaten Pinkerton in 2014. So they had back-to-back wins, and then there's been this drought, and you're absolutely right. This could be Bedford's night.
The lights are on here at Bulldog Stadium. Got a big crowd here. Saw some of the youngsters entertaining this audience here a moment ago. Part of that youth program that's been so strong over the years here in Bedford. So the teams going to switch ends. Pinkerton will work right to left. Bulldogs countering left to right here to begin this third quarter.
Boy, I love it that they got Morrison and Matthews on the wings here on these faceoffs. They want to go right at each other offensively.
Riccio, the freshman, has been outstanding at the X. Wins another for Bedford. No help needed from the wings either.
Boy, that's just the future for that kid as a freshman. And you know how things have been important in this game of lacrosse when you've got a dominant faceoff guy like a Cole Frank and J.J. Murphy a couple years back, and the plethora of faceoff people at BG over the years. You know where the dominance can come from.
Kaliza.
Nice
Shot and a better save by Perkins. Freshman trying to locate it, clamps down on it. Outlet long, intercepted, but was he offsides? Kerr Little gung happy. Coach Bordeaux is animated on the Bedford sideline, not pleased. They're going to give this to Pinkerton.
Yeah, that's a faux pas there by Timmy McCaffrey, because they did have a guy that was standing on the sidelines coming out of the box there.
Pass goes behind Quintilani. Scooped up. Scala with a drop step. Trying to get something going for Pinkerton. Astros trailing by 2. Morrison against Helton.
Look
the
at this.
Premier athletes in the schools going at each other.
Nice.
Pass there. Scala, sweeping shot and score.
Beautiful.
A great feed. Scala finding the soft spot in the defense. Able to turn and fire to make this a 1-goal game again.
All right, we talked about this at the top of the broadcast. You're going to isolate Morrison, your go-to guy. You're going to pop a pick up high, and that leaves the middle open, because this is what Pinkerton's hoping to see, is that quick slide and no backside second slide. And that's textbook right there. Beautiful turn by Scala, too.
Keene State's getting a pretty good player. That's the senior committed to play for the Owls.
Oh, look
Morrison
at this.
giving the assist, and now Pinkerton right back at it, but ball ends up coming loose at the last moment, and there's Kahn in the net for Bedford to clean it up.
Hey, good movement there on that break. Not a full fast break, but here we go again. Bedford having difficulty. There goes Art.
Good spin move here by Sam Durso. The long pole. Now Matthews contested there. Lucky to get that one off with Chase right in his face. It ends up high, but Bedford will keep it at this end.
Yeah, you heard me say this last year when Bennett Matthews came up as a freshman, that I can remember saying it several times. If he starts to dial in his shot, he is going to be just deadly. And he's getting back to that precision shooting again.
Shot
there it
and
is.
Score right on cue.
There it is.
It's Matthews. He's been active today on both ends. Scores his second. A little bit of a jump shot there from the near side.
But look at the placement, Nick. He's not trying to be so precise at the corners. He goes belt line high, okay, and he gets the goal. He blows it by the goalie, strong side. Great jump shot there. Great jump shot.
Matthews with 2. Bedford a 2-goal lead at 6-4.
Well, he had 7 against Concord in the first game of the season, so
part of that 21-1 opening night victory. Meanwhile, this pass is off target. Pinkerton gives it back to Bedford.
Yeah, and this is one of the things we said. Pinkerton's going to do better on the faceoffs, and they're already doing that. That's their second win out of 3.
Here's Kerr, the long pole defenseman, one of these veterans for Bedford. He's going to draw a double team here. He keeps it himself to the left and now gets rid of it for Helton.
Yeah, still, again, 2 low attackmen for the Bulldogs, not even a part of the clear. And that's going to come out against a team like BG and Exeter where they press hard like that. It's going to be tough if they don't get those guys in motion.
Meanwhile, Gaffney coming downhill.
Dish.
Defender right there on his hip. Lost his footing at the last moment, but does regain his balance behind the cage. Got a one-on-one here.
Right, they're going to give him room.
With the defender, Mishu.
Nice.
Turns, fires. Perkins gets a piece. Kaliza is pushed down, and the officials are going to give it to Bedford. Kaliza wanted a flag, and the senior a little slow to get up.
Yeah.
Ridden down there by Cole Summers, the senior attack.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Yep.
Not Summers, rather. That was Chase. Chase has played pretty well.
Yeah.
And he's going to stay with Kaliza here despite a screen attempt. Kaliza trying to get inside, goal line extended. And guess who poked it loose? It was Chase. Now Chase trying to fight off 2 players, but it's Matthews who comes up with it for Bedford.
Find the weakness.
Up top, Kaliza looks back door, but nobody home. Contested in a crowd there in front of the cage. It ends up out of bounds behind the net and back over to the Astros.
That will be shown in the film room. What's today? Monday?
Yep.
Probably Wednesday, because they did not need to make that pass. They had 2 wide open offensive guys on Perkins' left side here, and they just wasted that opportunity.
All right. Let's see what Pinkerton does against the clear. Trailing by 2, nearly 4 minutes in third quarter. Morrison going to keep it himself, trying to spin off of
nice move.
Helton. And for the moment, Helton's going to recover and push the junior back out to the wing.
How many times in the football season did these 2 guys square off?
Not enough, actually, as
really?
Bedford and Pinkerton did not play each other. This one
that's right.
is saved by Kahn. A good stop up by the shoulder blades for the sophomore. Now Sheridan out of his own end. unchallenged along the sideline until he collides with Morrison. Trying to stay in bounds, desperately flings the ball ahead. It ends up poked across the line and back over to Pinkerton.
Man, that better be on the film room, too. This clear for Bedford is just not working out here. Just not working out.
They had some trouble in that first quarter.
Yeah. Good.
And here, they're going to scissor Erickson. Erickson loses his footing and the ball, and it goes back to Bedford.
A great ride there. You kept a midi down low, and you kept the attackman in the trap position, and they doubled him up on the sideline. Good play by Bedford.
Nearly 5 minutes in, third quarter. Bedford led by 2 at the break. They lead by 2 here, 6-4. Helton for Matthews. Matthews showing the speed, left side, draws a slide, looks for an open. Kalizo's got the bouncer. A pretty pass by Matthews. Kaliza's got the hat trick, and Bedford has opened up the largest lead either way. A 3-goal edge now at 7-4. 5 minutes into this third quarter.
So, again, and we're going to, as long as we're doing Bedford and Pinkerton games, we're going to be talking about these same people all the time. But Matthews goes to his left hand and dodges down the alley, pulls up short, and finds Kaliza breaking towards the crease. And this is just great lacrosse, guys. That's just great lacrosse.
See if Pinkerton can answer. They get a face-off win from Dylan Stingle. Stingle has handled the entire workload at the X today for Coach Gaudreau.
Yeah, and he's already up 3-1 over Riccio in this quarter.
I thought we may see Setzelanos, but we haven't. Quintilani up top. Pinkerton going to shuffle some personnel as well as Michoud, the freshman, goes sprinting off the field, replaced by Santamassimo.
Well, and I'm surprised to see that too, Nick, and that goes back to the discussion I had with you during the pregame, and that was the goalie for Bedford. There's a battle going on at the faceoff X, and obviously Stengel, the sophomore, has beaten out the senior because he was the backup to Cole Frank last year. Setzelanos was.
Yeah, Coach Gaudreau says that's one of the strengths of this roster, some of the depth at X. Meanwhile, Pinkerton trying to draw Bedford out here a little bit as we hit the midway point, third quarter. Astros trying to get this attack in motion. Surveying is Matt Gormady, and then we get a whistle.
I'm okay with what Pinkerton's doing right now. I mean, they've got some different guys out there. I don't see Morrison out there right now, so they're giving him a little bit of a rest. Let your guys feel the field out a little better here that don't see a lot of time, and see what you can do. They're playing smart ball right now. A lot of movement. I like that.
Yeah. A lengthy possession. Looking for a cutter there. Pass goes through the zone, rolls out of play, and Soden is the closest to it for Bedford.
Yep. Just good defense and good offense, and that's what happens after, a good long possession. Someone's bound to make a mistake at some point. But they tried to squeeze that through on a skip pass, too, so I like that as well.
Soden goes around Wong, and here come the Bulldogs. Nearly 5 minutes remaining, third quarter.
Right, watch them. Yeah, let's get Soden off and get they're going to bring in Kevin Master de Casa.
Seems like Pinkerton is coming out and challenging a bit here as well.
Yeah, and especially you'll see that right now with the second midi in here. And Capello.
On the move, Master de Casa. Oh, sure if that was a pass or a shot. Either way, it stays in play, and Bedford has it. Capello in no hurry, deep on that far sideline, right in front of the Astro bench. Going to reverse direction. Going to come middle. Looking for Kaliza. Shooting lane closed off. Spins to his left, fires anyway. And this one bounces out of bounds.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Derek Kaliza, he has come a long way since his sophomore year, and every year I've seen him get better and better. I wanted to make a couple of comments of his off-ball play here. I'll get to that maybe down the road, but much improved player.
Turned over. Pinkerton trying to make him pay on the other end. It's the freshman Michoud. Hooking up with Matt Gormady. Bulldogs recover defensively, and now the Astros again look to make the most of this possession. Coming up on 4 minutes to go, third quarter. Under the lights here in Bedford. Bulldogs looking for their first win over Pinkerton in 9 years. Astros hoping to come back and get a road win to improve to 3-1.
Everybody's up high on offense. Now they're crashing.
Here's Morrison playing behind the cage. He's double teamed. Still has it. Spins away from one man. Fires a shot from a tough angle. Ends up a bit wide out of play in that far corner. Pinkerton will keep it.
Yeah, I don't like what Morrison did there. He had a man behind him. He did not have to try and go through a double there, but he did have a good shot to take right there. I think he was just really tired too.
He scored the game's opening goal. Pinkerton played with the lead most of the first half. Bedford strung together 4 unanswered to close it out. Led by 2 at halftime. Some rough play here. Kerr with a good takeaway. The long pull. Scoops up the ground ball. And now Sheridan is on the move left to right for Bedford.
Good pursuit by the Astros. See?
Sheridan lost it. Yep. Met at midfield, but he's helped out by Matthews, and the Bulldogs are going to retain possession. Helton, step down shot, won't get through. Ball is loose, far side. Players trying to locate it. Helton goes down. He was shoved, and a whistle sounds. Santa Massimo in pursuit there. Dropped that left shoulder. Bedford awarded possession. Bulldogs get to work. It's poked loose. Back outside the zone it goes. Matthews is there for Bedford. So is the long pull for Pinkerton, and they're going to give him possession. That's Nate Smith. Little back and forth, little chaos here as we enter the final 3 minutes, third quarter. Astros now on the move right to left.
Sloppy play on both sides right now.
Matthews trying to shake off the long pull. Nowhere to go. Hendershon, good piece of defense there.
Boy, they are just daring Morrison to try and break through a double.
Erickson scored one of the 4 Pinkerton goals. Going to backtrack near midfield here. Wants a one-on-one with Soden. To his left. Beats Soden. Fires on the run and scores.
Wow.
James Erickson, the senior, scored one back in the second quarter. Adds another here in the third to make it a 2-goal game again at 7-5.
This is a very, very nice isolation, and he just blows by the defender, goes to his left hand, and that is Soden that he just started off flat-footed on that dodge. Plain and simple.
So 7-5. Riccio against Stingle. Stingle thought he had it won, and instead the scrum continues. Helton plucks it up off the turf, and here come the Bulldogs left to right. Riccio gets to it. Looks for his classmate, fellow freshman Sam Barad. Riccio still on the field here.
Yeah, both teams would like a tally right now, getting down to the last couple of minutes here of this quarter.
Here comes Matthews. On the run, step down shot, whizzes past the goaltender.
Gaudreau's not going to be happy with that. Can't let Matthews shoot 12 yards out like that.
Helton in a crowd, lost the ball. It's loose near the cage. Perkins is there. A flag flies, and play is stopped. With 95 seconds remaining in this third quarter, we've got a penalty.
I think it's going to be on Helton for a slash on the goalie, actually.
It's the first of the second half against either team. We saw 2 apiece before the break.
Let's see if I can see it. My old guy eyes with no binoculars. Here we go.
Get another look at the replay.
Slash. Yeah, definitely going to be a slash.
Yeah, and Helton's down in the box.
It is Helton, yep. Yeah, it is Helton.
So another man-up opportunity for the Astros. They went 0 for 2 in that first half. A goal here would go a long way with just 1:35 to go in the third.
Just like I said, on that possession, both teams would want to get a tally here going into this last minute, and Bedford's, basically giving it to them on a platter here with an extra man.
Here comes Quintilani, cautiously approaching. Finds Morrison to his right. They're going to rifle it behind the cage. Wong. Now Erickson. Bedford trying to pack it in. Quintilani. Far side Morrison. Behind the cage Wong. 1:15 to go. Erickson near wing. Thought about it. Quintilani to his right.
No backup for Pinkerton.
Short pass. They're going to reverse it. Erickson step down shot and score. Well, they get the angle they wanted. And as soon as Erickson saw it, he let it fly. That's his third of the game. So the hat trick makes it a 1-goal difference with just over a minute remaining. And that penalty hurts Bedford as their lead is trimmed to 7-6.
Yes, it does. And I got to tell you, I love this man up. It started in a 1-4, morphed into a 3-2, and then they came out of that, and there was no backup at all, and they just let it rip here. Just a good formation and a good rotation of men around there, which confused the defense clearly.
So Pinkerton, after trailing by 3, they've strung together 2 straight, and they win the face-off here as Stengel is off and running. Pass, though, is low. Trying to find Scala on the move. It ends up behind the intended target and out of bounds. Turned back over to Bedford. So the man-up goal for Erickson gives the Astros a little bit of a taste of Bedford's own medicine as the Bulldogs scored on 2 man-up scenarios in that first half. Final minute, third quarter. It's been fun. Back and forth we go. Bedford led 5-3 at the break. They're on top 7-6 here, looking for another as we approach the 30-second mark in the frame.
Yeah, nice aggressive defensive play here by the Astros. They're not going to let Bedford just hold this ball if they can help it.
Matthews trying to shake off Chase. Draws the slide.
No.
Up free up top is Kaliza. Trying to spin free. Shot and score. Nice split dodge there as he changes direction. Keeps the shot low and beats Perkins. Kaliza looking good here tonight for the Bulldogs in game number 2 of his senior year. As Kaliza now with 4 goals to lead the way.
Yeah, this is almost a carbon copy of his second goal where he went down the alley, or not down the alley, but tried to go down the middle and got pushed over to his left hand. And no pressure, no immediate slide there on Kaliza.
Pinkerton going to have to hurry, 10 seconds remaining. Morrison, eye on the cage, but never got that off cleanly. They've been poked loose at the last moment by Helton. Quick restart with 5 seconds remaining. Pass goes behind Scala, sails out of bounds into the Bulldog bench with 1 second to go. Appears like Sheridan is set for the restart. The senior with his head coach right in his ear. Going to, I guess, fling this one desperation style down the field, and that'll do it for the third quarter. So it remains a 2-goal game. That was the halftime difference. Bedford leading Pinkerton 8-6. Is this going to be a monumental night for the Bulldogs? They beat Pinkerton for the first time in 9 years, or do the Astros come from behind to steal one on the road? We'll find out next. Fourth quarter on the other side. You are watching our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com.
Well, we've got a good one brewing here in Bedford. Bulldogs 8, Pinkerton 6. Nick Anastas along with Roger Howe. Week number 2 statewide in this 2024 campaign. Both teams looking to keep momentum going. Pinkerton, 2-1 record. The lone loss over the weekend against St. John Shrewsbury, the only blemish. They'd love to get back on the winning side of things. And, of course, Bedford, not only would they improve to 2-0 with a win, but they get that long-time monkey off their back as Pinkerton has dominated the head-to-head matchups over the years. 9 straight victories coming into tonight, but Pinkerton going to have to do it from behind, trailing by 2, 8-6 as we begin this fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I'll just give a little bit of added information about that St. John's game. That game was a 1 or 2 goal game back and forth until the end of the third quarter. And so Pinkerton hung in there. St. John Shrewsbury is not as strong as they have been in the past, but still very, very top-quality private school team. And
ended up being 9-7.
Yep, it was still very close at the end, but, they hung in there the whole way. It wasn't like it was, a runaway.
This one tonight looked like belonged to Pinkerton early. They scored first. Bedford came back to tie it. We had a 1-1 score after 1. And then Pinkerton built up a 3-1 edge before Bedford rattled off 4 in a row over the final 5 minutes before halftime to take a 5-3 lead into the locker room. And then, literally, back and forth in that third quarter. Goals from Scala of Pinkerton, Matthews, Kaliza for Bedford, Erickson with 2 in a row for the Astros before Kaliza scored his 4th with just 17 seconds remaining moments ago in that third quarter. Meanwhile, transition, plot foiled by the freshman goaltender Perkins.
Nice save.
Got a piece of that one, and it ends up out of play in the far corner.
And finally, the attackman came up on this, even though you see him receded here in the replay. But that's a great, great save.
Kaliza, shot and score. That's his 5th tonight. The senior putting on a show. Let that one loose in the midst of a crowd and beats Perkins to make it 9-6 Bedford.
Quick comment. Kaliza scores 5 here, but quick restart again, all right? And no one's covering Kaliza in the middle, and that's Morrison's job right there along with Chase. Chase has got the man, but Morrison's the backup, and he picks the corner. But in that third quarter, Pinkerton came back, and they won the face-off war in that one. That was a big turnaround for them.
Riccio, the freshman who has taken every face-off tonight for Bedford in the mix there.
You're gonna have to
as is Nate Smith, who ultimately secures for Pinkerton. Looking middle, he finds Brendan Carney. And the sophomore is going to trigger the offense here for the Astros. Largest lead on the board for Bedford. As they match that 3-goal difference from early in the third quarter. It's 9-6. Minute and a half here into the fourth. Basically full darkness here in southern New Hampshire. The lights are on and in full effect. Little shake for Quintilani. Being ridden hard by an extra defender. Tic-tac-toe. Shot there for Erickson is knocked away. Well, Erickson in the right spot there looking for his 4th goal of the night. But a better save by Kahn keeps this a 3-goal difference.
Same set that they would run with Morrison. They ran it with Quintilani, and they got the slide they wanted out on the wing, and that left the crease guy wide open. He just missed it.
2 minutes in, fourth quarter. Quintilani back to work. Now goal line extended for Scala. Finds a man near the cage, but Wong jammed up by Kerr on the release. It's still loose behind the cage. Now 4, make it 5. No 6 players in the scrum there for these teams. And ultimately it's Henrishon, one of the leaders for Bedford, who comes away with it. Long pole, going to flip it to the far side. Kerr is there, and now Kerr is on the move. Kerr with his eyes downfield. Trying to avoid 2 Astros at midfield. He does so to safely secure it for Bedford on the clear. Meanwhile, getting inside is the freshman, Sam Barad, and he finds Capello for the score. Well, just a good job by Capello. Just kept going on the weak side, and passes on time, on target.
Yeah, I want to watch
the shot and score results.
Yeah, I don't see the defense. Are we going to play some defense here? Okay, very light pole play on the attackman Berard, and Capello's just cutting down the crease. Got to be there, guys.
So Evan Capello, the junior, working hard tonight, gets rewarded with his first goal, and Bedford's got a 4-goal lead now at 10-6, nearly 3 minutes in fourth quarter.
Hey, this guy's Stengel, man. He's on fire. I don't think he's lost a face-off since the first one of the third quarter.
Wins one here for Pinkerton. Now can this Astro attack get to work? Well, it's easier said than done against this Bedford defense, Roger. You said so at the top of the broadcast. Those 3 in particular, the 3 veteran long poles, are as good as it gets.
Yeah, and you keep Heldon or Matthews out there on defense too.
Morrison is scissored near side. Big collision, a whistle, will keep it here at this end with the Astros.
Maybe some interference there. I'm not quite sure. A little bit of a body pile. Okay, maybe a push. Okay, all right.
Astros back to work. 3.5 gone by. Wong, eye on the cage, off-balance shot offering. Didn't get through.
Oh, look at this.
Pass
Look at
taken
this.
by Matthews. Matthews on the run. Fakes a pass, keeps it himself, and scores. Another for the sophomore, Bennett Matthews, making it look easy as Bedford starting to blow this one open a bit. It's now a 5-goal difference with 4 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Timeout, Pinkerton, as we get another look there, Roger, at the athleticism of Bennett Matthews.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I don't know what you do on defense there. Chase has got a decision to make as a point man, and he went to Matthews, and Matthews just took him one-on-one. It's really hard to anticipate when you're the point defender there as to whether or not you're making that slide early. They had numbers back. Their rotation actually looked pretty good on the backside there from the lower defensive core. So perhaps Chase could have engaged him a little higher, but hey, that was just good lacrosse right there by Bennett Matthews.
Our broadcast tonight brought to you by Beals Insurance. Locations in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Visit BealsInsurance.com. Also by MG Sports Fundraising. That's fundraising made easy. MG Sports Fundraising is the official fundraising partner of Friday Night Lights New Hampshire. Visit MGSportsFundraising.com. Start raising money for your team today. And finally, by the New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NHTomahawks.com and also girls.NHTomahawks.com. Nick Anastas, Roger Howe with you, high above Bulldog Stadium in our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance. Reminder, Wednesday night we'll be back on the air with our weekly program, FNL Lacrosse, presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks, as we preview the week that was and the week that is ahead.
There it is.
With exclusive live interviews, Coach Cameron and myself break it down every Wednesday at 6 Eastern, so log in for the live Week 2 edition coming up Wednesday night. Play resumes here.
Nope.
Nearly 4 minutes gone by in this fourth quarter. They're going to keep it alive as Stingel able to save it for Pinkerton, but Bedford comes the other way, and now Kaliza going to pump the brakes and pull it back out for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, that was Bedford's first face-off win in the last 8 draws. So if they can start pulling that possession together from the start, it's going to be tough.
Little give and go, and then a step down shot and score for Capello.
Wow.
Great two-man game there. Capello to Matthews, back to Capello, and Bedford with plenty of breathing room now, doubling up Pinkerton 12-6.
Wow, this is a great play. When you just said it, Nick, back and forth passing in that area of the lane, and Matthews comes up with an apple instead of a goal here and dishes out and starts redistributing the wealth around the Bulldog offense. That's awesome to see, especially with a guy like Capello out there who's played hard tonight.
Well, Pinkerton thought that they had it. Erickson near his side takes a swipe but can't get there. Make that Santa Massimo.
Yeah.
Two Bulldogs in the area. Sam Durso and Parker O'Toole both getting some playing time here late.
Now, I'm going to comment here because, we've called Sam Durso's name here a couple of times tonight. His younger brother, Brayson, he had 2 goals against Concord in the first game of the season. That kid's got a rifle. He rivals Helton and Matthews' speed on his shot. So we haven't called his name at all tonight. I don't even know if I can see him on the bench at this hour of the night with my 60-year-old eyes. But he's one to watch in the future too.
Yeah, Bedford's got a lot of depth, and as you mentioned, that feeder program just keeps the numbers where they need to be. Matthews, pass in front, knocked down, recovered on the far side wing by Capello, who scrambles to find some space, and Bedford will reset.
Yeah, and they're just playing right now. Didn't really need to make that pass. Trying to get some of the other guys here in the game.
Helton frees himself up,
wow.
but there's Perkins.
Great placement on that shot, Brody Helton. I love that.
Helton gave the offering, but
look at this
Perkins
weak
able
side.
to get a piece there.
Weak side, over the post, belt line. Boom. Oh, great placement.
Meanwhile, Matthews finds Kaliza, and there's another.
Wow.
Make it number 6 for the senior. Another low release from straight away. And Bedford really starting to run it up now. Midway through the fourth quarter, it's 13-6.
Yeah, and there's a lot of lacrosse left here, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't expect that Coach Bordeaux or Coach Howe is not going to want to let up at this point.
6 unanswered for Bedford, dating back to the 17-second mark in the third quarter. So you're talking, Roger, about a half a period of lacrosse time, and Bedford has rattled off again 6 straight.
Yeah.
5 of those in this fourth quarter.
Exactly. And now they're starting to get a string of face-off wins. Now is when no time clock, no shot clock here in high school. A lot of talk about it. I don't ever see it happening. But you can rag the ball here. And they are going perimeter here. Look how far out they're going to be playing the ball, and Pinkerton has no choice but to be aggressive here.
That's Barad, the freshman, behind the net for Bedford. Sets a screen and gets knocked down. Purnell near side. Looks for Helton, took his eye off the ball. It rolls freely to midfield.
Legal.
It's poked ahead by Sheridan, and then a whistle will award this to the Astros. Quick restart. Scala in transition. Full sprint far side. Looks for a pick. Sheridan breathing down his neck. Trying to escape the 6'5 defenseman. Ends up on the ground. Ball ends up near midfield before it's scooped by Santamassimo. And now Morrison does have a little bit of room to breathe. Inside of 5 minutes, fourth quarter. Astros looking for their first score of the quarter.
Loved what Kevin Master de Casa just did there. Offensive midfielder, stayed on the defensive side, got trapped, was aggressive. They pulled him off.
Shot there is wide.
Got his replacement D-mid out there, but, man, what a scrapping little two-way midfielder he is.
Spin move. This is Matt Gormady. Up top for Erickson. And now again, Pinkerton trying to find some movement here as we tick down towards 4 minutes remaining in regulation. Erickson, who has certainly held his own tonight for Pinkerton.
Yes, he has.
Escapes the crowd and goes back up top. Here's Michoud. Now Scala. Goal line extended near side. Cole Summers dropped it, recovers. Given room by Soden. Finds a man near the cage. Quickly cut off by Henrishon. Soden gives him a shove.
Just good defense.
And there's the flag. And a penalty coming against Bedford. It'll be their 4th of the night. This one stripped up top. Secured by Kerr. That will bring the whistle. I
think it's going to be Soden, yeah.
Well, now inside of 4 minutes. Saw 2 against Sheridan in the first half for Bedford.
Yeah.
And we see the first on Soden tonight and the 4th on the team.
Yeah, he what are they calling here? They're going to call him for a push? Okay. All right.
So a man-up opportunity for Pinkerton. They're 1 for 3 tonight. You can hear Coach Gaudreau trying to direct traffic from the visitor sideline. Morrison, step down, shot wide. And the restart will come from Summers behind the cage.
Mr. Morrison looks a little tired, and I noticed in that last sequence before the penalty, they had him parked on the crease, and he had 2 long poles on him. So there's a bad pass.
Yeah, Summers let it sail.
Yep, they do look tired.
A little bit of a push on the ensuing ground ball is going to give this to Bedford. 3.5 to go. Matthews being hounded here.
Yeah, don't be surprised to see Bedford call a timeout here, even though they're Yep, look at that.
Yeah, right on cue. Second-year head coach Drew Bordeaux going to call a timeout. And what's the message here in the huddle, Roger, with 3:16 remaining?
We're up by 7, guys. Don't think you need to score another 7. We got control of the ball. We're less than coming up on 3 minutes here. No shot clock. Play perimeter. If they start pursuing you, run away from pressure. I tell my kids
That's
for
always
years.
Good advice, right?
Run away from pressure. Follow your stick. So wherever the defender is, go the opposite direction with the head of your stick. It's simple. It's simple. And watch them to stay low with this ball. If they go anywhere higher than the 30-yard line on this, unless they've got Matthews and Helton in a play position, which is quite possible coming out of this timeout, then in my opinion, they're playing it wrong. You want to lose the ball down low in your own offensive end and prevent them from getting a good long, a short transition goal up at the top of the midfield or top of the box.
Reminder, Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, FNL Lacrosse, presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks, back with a Week 2 edition. Join us every Wednesday at 6 throughout the season. And, of course, while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we make the push towards 5,000 subscribers.
Do we have the $1,000 prize in the budget to give the person that's the 5,000th person to subscribe? Is that in the budget? No? Okay.
Boy, Roger, you're putting pressure on the sponsors now, aren't you?
Oh, it's my job. It's my job.
That would be that is actually a very good idea.
Well, thank you. I've been in marketing probably 30 years.
There you go.
You know, what the heck.
Down to 3 minutes here. Helton.
Oh, yeah.
Backdoor. Capello.
Oh, yes.
The shoulder feed for Purnell. Some pretty passing there, but the shot too tough of an angle near the cage.
But I love it. I love the idea. I love the idea. They're not playing perimeter right now, but
looked like that was drawn up.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Well, that's why I said coming out of the timeout, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to pop one in. And that looked it was well executed. They just got a little bit too low when they took the shot there. It had no angle. Look and rip.
Looking for another from Matthews. A little high. Bulldogs blowing this one open in this fourth quarter. It was an 8-6 game to begin the quarter. 5 unanswered. Part of a 6-0 run by Bedford has made this a 13-6 contest.
Good
defense here. Good read in the lane.
Oh, that's going to go white.
That was Braden Berry, the senior, who I believe is getting his first action here.
First time we've called his name.
One of the long poles for Pinkerton. Read that one correctly. Got a defender out there as well, Ronan Connors, a junior, getting his first action. Helton.
Love this.
Seemingly in no hurry. Now is going to put the move.
Love it.
Looks
Love
for
it.
a man.
Oh,
Bouncer goes off. I believe the pole. And then Capello, no. Perkins is there. Good save, good outlet. On the run now, Cole Mackin, one of the juniors. And Mackin is going to slow it down. Now Mackin will fire. That one came out a little awkwardly. It rolls out of play in the corner with an even 100 seconds remaining in the game. Coming up after the game, we take a look back, full recap, stats, highlights, analysis. We'll try to get some scores as well on a busy Monday statewide. That's all coming up after the game. Final 90 seconds. Shot on the move. Erickson looking for another. He scored a hat trick tonight.
But hey, Brody Helton there with constant pressure from the midfield, gets a late pop on him, and the ball goes up in the air. Good defense. They're not letting up.
Tyler Berry, another youngster getting some playing time here late. Berry, a sophomore.
I love the sequencing of checks that this defense does too, Nick. We'll talk more about that down the road, but, man, you pick up stuff.
Here's a turnover forced. Up ahead, Matthews able to catch on the run, jog over midfield, and now come to a stop here near side.
Exactly what you want to do here.
With 45 seconds remaining, it looks like Bedford content with perhaps running out the rest of this clock. A marquee win here for the young head coach and his team. Coach Bordeaux talked about last year, wanted to build culture in his first year on the sideline and then add to it in year number 2. So far, so good as Bedford now 2-0 after beating Pinkerton for the first time in 9 years, and what looks like is going to end up being a 13-6 final.
Yeah, I got to tell you, that word, my sons have heard me say it for years. I said it to the AD when he changed over after Coach Gerard back in my day when Coach Gerard resigned, is that, culture is everything when it comes to trying to build a program. And these two young coaches have done that, absolutely.
Bedford a winner. 13-6 is the final. The Bulldogs close the door with 6 unanswered goals and get the win in front of a large crowd here on their home field. Bulldogs now 2-0 to begin the campaign. Well, Pinkerton, they slip to 2-2. The Astros doesn't get any easier. They've got Exeter coming up just 4 days from now, perennially tough opponent. And Bedford in game number 3, they will take on Lexington.
Yeah, let me tell you.
State battle.
Let me tell you, next week is going to be very tough for the Bulldogs. They've got 4 games next week, and
Lexington at BG, at Dover, and then Nashua North.
Yeah, that Dover game should not be on the 24th. It just shouldn't be. They can play it some other night. Dover's willing to play it. NHIAA, the ADs, they got to get their head together and change that, all because of this last Friday night rain fest that put a lot of teams out. But to make a team play that kind of schedule.
Back-to-back road games coming up next week for Bedford at BG and then at Dover, just one night apart.
And there's no reason to play it this early in the season.
All right, coming up, full recap, stats, highlights, analysis, postgame next. Bedford a winner here over Pinkerton. You are watching our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. The New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school, varsity, and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NewHampshireTomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. So become another athletic program like Bedford, Goffstown, or Memorial that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today.
Bedford a winner tonight, 13-6 over Pinkerton. Nick Anastas, along with Roger Howe, in our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance. It's the first win for Bedford over Pinkerton in 9 seasons. Astros got off to a good start with a goal in the opening minute from Matt Morrison to make it 1-0. Then the teams over the course of that first period really kind of feeling each other out. Defensively, both teams able to force some turnovers. Bedford got on the board in the final 90 seconds on a Derek Kaliza shot. Big night for the senior. More on that in a moment. 1-1 our score after 1. Astros string together 2 straight over the first 5+ minutes of the second quarter. James Erickson, Matt Gormady. 3-1 Pinkerton. That was the high water mark for the visitors. Bedford, though, got hot at the end of that first half. They score 4 unanswered in the final 4:48. Bennett Matthews, who was very impressive, got his first goal tonight on a man-up situation. It was followed by Kaliza's second with just outside of 3 minutes to go before the break, tying the game at 3. Then Brody Helton, the sophomore, back-to-back goals. One of those on a man-up opportunity. 5-3 was Bedford's lead at halftime. Adam Scala gave Pinkerton some hope just a minute 15 into the second half with his lone goal tonight. 5-4 at that point. But then Matthews and Kaliza stayed hot. Back-to-back goals there, 6-4, then 7-4 Bedford at that point. One final push for Pinkerton late in that third quarter as Erickson scored again back-to-back. He finished with a hat trick tonight. The second one coming on a man-up situation. So 7-6 at that point. Then Kaliza comes through again in the final seconds of the third quarter to make it 8-6. And then Bedford just rode that wave of momentum throughout the fourth quarter. Kaliza another to make it 9-6, a little over a minute into the fourth. Evan Capella, first of 2 fourth quarter goals, made it 10-6. Matthews another. About 4 minutes in to make it 11-6. Capello's second. A couple seconds later, made it 12-6. And then Kaliza tops off a memorable night with another goal at the midway point fourth quarter. 13-6 ends up being the final. Bedford now 2-0, while Pinkerton slips to 2-2.
Well, Division I, defensive coordinators. You got a problem on your hand with Bedford. Because if it's not in Kaliza's stick, if it's not in Matthews or Helton's stick, then you got to worry about them coming up with assists.
Right.
Okay, because on top of Matthews scoring 3 goals tonight and 7 in the first game, he had 4 assists tonight. Okay? So even when you slide to him and you catch him,
right,
he's got dishes to go to, and they made that apparent tonight, very apparent tonight. Let's not take anything away from their defense, too, because Morrison had the first goal, Morrison had the first goal of the game, and they literally shut him down. We didn't see him really get into their offense, which was actually scouted by me, and I saw that they were going to try and isolate him more, and it ended up being Erickson, the guy who was doing more of an isolation than Morrison. So maybe they forced the Astros to do something that they weren't real familiar with doing or didn't want to do, okay, and they broke through their offense to make them try to do something else. But Bedford's defense just too strong, even from the defensive midfielding side.
Other scores tonight, BG a winner. The defending champs in D1 with an 18-4 win over Salem. Concord gets one 9-5 over Nashua South.
Okay, so now they're 2-1. They beat Dover on Saturday.
Yeah. The Manchester Kings with a win. 7-6 over Nashua North.
Love that.
How about Alvern? They beat a D1 program earlier this week, and they get it done tonight, 10-3 over Sauhegan.
Wow. Well, Sauhegan's Division II now.
Right, but the Broncos making some noise early.
Yeah, true.
Being the point.
True.
Speaking of making noise early.
Oh, here we go.
Dairyfield 22, Kennett 1. Final. Cougars looking as scary as always. And Portsmouth, of course, those two widely considered the top 2 contenders in Division II. Clippers with a win tonight, doubling up Oyster River.
Yeah.
A stubborn Oyster River team, 14.
Big game for Timberlane coming up here against Portsmouth at Timberlane, I think, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or, Tuesday. Tomorrow.
That's one to watch. Sticking with D2, St. Thomas all over Winnicott 13-4. That's the final there. Down in D3, Pelham 9, Laconia 8. That's the final. And Plymouth tops Milford in blowout fashion, 14-1. Roger, your final thoughts on what we saw here tonight, a 13-6 Bedford win over Pinkerton.
Yeah, glad to see the Bulldogs pull this one out after a long drought, as we've been talking about. I think that, you take the intangibles, and I say intangibles kind of half-heartedly, but saves were virtually even, okay, 6 and 5 for Pinkerton. Face-offs, Pinkerton came back in that fourth quarter and late in the third, and they were up 12-11 for face-offs. So that neutralized itself. The big difference here was the Bedford defense and the Bedford offense clicking after they got past all the clearing problems that Bedford had early on, which has been a constant problem for them. But, hey, great game by both teams here, and a good early statement win by Bedford.
Yeah.
Big time.
All right, we'll wrap this one up. Appreciate Corey Parker and his staff here at Bedford High. Always welcoming. Good to see Bill Jennings and his crew at BCTV.
Corey Munster Tiger again and doing his thing down there. My old bud. Yep.
Appreciate working with them. And, of course, the MVP of the night, Kat Doyle, getting here early, even earlier than I thought, and getting us off the ground seemingly flawless.
She is full of energy, man.
She is.
We're going to have a fun season with a good old Kat.
Yeah, we appreciate Kat.
Yeah.
And Josh Lebrecht in the fold as well. Down there on the sideline.
There
giving
he is.
us the thumbs up. As usual, doing a great job.
You got to get some screen time for
down
that
in
guy.
The trench.
Yeah, way down there.
For Roger Howe and our director, Ben Beals, the man behind the curtain. My name is Nick Anastas, saying so long. Final score, final time. Bedford 13, Pinkerton 6. This has been a presentation of our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance.